Welcome to the Leadership with Vision podcast by Austin Gardner. For more information and resources, visit worldevangelism.net.
Well, we'd like to welcome you to Leadership with Vision. I am here with Jeff Bush, Director of Vision Baptist Missions. My name is Austin Gardner, the pastor of Vision Baptist Church, and we're excited to be with you today and get an opportunity to share with you.
Well, it's good to be here. Would like to invite you on this discussion. I think it's going to be a very interesting one. Let me say just a couple quick announcements right before we jump in, and that would be, first of all, we have a pastors conference coming in, and it's going to be February 4th, 5th, and 6th. Going to be an excellent time, and if you're interested, check it out. We put a link in the last podcast, the previous podcast. You'll see it there. But you can check out ourgenerationministries.com and you can find out some more information. Pastors Conference, hopefully we can encourage, strengthen, give tools to, and a lot of other different things that would help pastors. Missionaries, you're on the road. We'd love to have you as well.
We love pastors. I'm obviously a pastor. Pastors, we count you as the captain of world evangelism. You are the most important person in world evangelism. Missionaries are saved under your ministry, raised and sent out under your ministry, supported by your ministry. And Andrew Murray wrote a book, The Key to the Missionary Problem, and basically it's the pastor. We are responsible to get the gospel to the world. And so we really want you to come because we love you. We want to put tools in your hands. We are giving away a free trip, airline flights to South Africa, all the way to Port Elizabeth to be with about 5 missionaries down there that we support out of our church and work with down there. You would love them. There's Jeremy and Kevin Hall, Stephen Underwood, Mark Coffey, Josh, what's Josh's last name? Josh Sullivan. I'm pretty sure there's others, and they're doing a great job all in the city of Port Elizabeth, and I would like you to get to go see that. So if you come, you'll be entered in a drawing and get a chance to win that. All right, go ahead there, Jeff.
Well, let's go ahead and bring up the topic for the day. And so today we're going to discuss integrity. And when we say integrity, we're talking about ethics, we're talking about your character, we're talking about something that is kind of not an outward thing, it's an inward thing. And so we're about to hit it head on.
You know, I am bothered by missionaries. Two things. They prostitute themselves to get support, meaning they lie or whatever it takes to get a pastor to like them enough to take them on. And then they aren't clear about what they believe. And so they are putting on a face, they are lying, they're deceiving pastors. You know, if you believe something, that's perfectly fine. That's your place. That pastor has a right to know that you fit what he's looking for. And so if he has a strong feeling about something, you should not lie and try to be who he wants you to be. We have actually heard missionaries, and I could bring witnesses about missionaries actually saying, I'm going to tell him whatever he wants to hear. I'm going to tell my mission agency whatever they want to hear. And that is the opposite of holiness and honesty that a Christian ought to be having.
Now, we are very strong on missionaries need to get support. They need to do it right, get to the field, make sure they have enough support. But at the same time, we believe very, very strongly that a missionary should do it in the right way. And so what we're talking about is this integrity. In other words, God's given every one of us a conscience. And it would be better to not get $100 a month and be able to sleep at night than to get $100 knowing that we were lying about something for why we're receiving the money.
You know, it would be better to not have to say that guy's coming to visit us and I've got to pretend to be what he expected me to be when he came. Somebody said the best way to remember what you said is to tell the truth. And so, you know, if you say, oh, what a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive, that is a horrible way to live. And some missionaries have begun to do that. You know, you don't have to agree with a pastor. If you think that he is too tight or strict on something or too loose on something, that's your business, but you don't tell him what he wants to hear. The Bible in Psalm chapter 15, I call that the integrity chapter. It's just one of my favorite chapters. It starts off, who shall abide in thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in thy holy hill? And it says, he that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness and speaketh truth in his heart. And so let's suppose that a pastor is asking you about what you think about modesty or dress, and you are going to try not to tell the truth. The scriptures say, walk uprightly, work righteousness, speak the truth in your heart. It ought to be that whatever's coming out of your mouth is the same thing that's in your heart. That's what integrity means.
Now, it's very interesting that it says speak the truth in your heart, because nobody can really see your heart, your intentions, your your meditation, whatever it may be. But as a child of God, we have to sleep. We have to face the mirror. We have to face the music, if we want to say, know who we really are. So tell the truth. Be honest. Be a man of integrity.
And these missionaries are not that's a Spanish word coming out. They're not a bother to the local church. And pastors aren't your enemy. When you talk to a pastor, he asks a question, you should answer that question. You should tell him the truth. You should say, if he says, do you do this? Do you do that? You should tell the truth. If he says, do you agree with me about this? You should tell the truth. And you can move on down the road if you and him cannot get together, because you're going to do what you believe is right. You need to stand on your own convictions. You need to stand on your own opinions about what you believe. Speak the truth in your heart. Tell the truth and don't back up off the truth. We want you to raise support. We are big on raising the support and being taken care of. But we're also big on integrity. Missionaries become missionaries with a mission agency. They sign their name to a piece of paper saying they believe this or that and they agree with this or that, and yet they don't practice that. I think it would be more character to say, I think we need to part ways, than it would be for you to stay with that group and then not be telling the truth.
This is a very strong statement that I'm going to say, yet I do believe it. Without integrity, really you're nothing. In other words, your authority to preach or to teach or to talk or to lead or whatever it may be, you really don't have it. It's absolutely nothing without that integrity. And so you and I are to be men of integrity. We're to be those men who, speak the truth, lieth not. The men who, speak it from our heart. Be men of integrity. Don't lie about things.
The truth is that they're going to find out anyway, and you get all messed up in not telling the truth. And then sometimes missionaries will stand around and boast about how they know what the pastor said, and they know they told him this, and they know he lied, but he won't figure it out. Sometimes they get together and say, I know this is what my mission agency thinks, but I don't care. How are you going to teach nationals that? What are you going to feel like when the nationals tell you what you want to hear and laugh at you behind your back? You are going to reap what you're sowing. You're going to deal with what's coming out of your mouth. I want to challenge you to not let that be who you are. I want to challenge you to take a stand on what you believe and put that into practice in your life and in your ministry. Don't lie on questionnaires. Don't lie on prayer letters. Obviously, we don't say everything we know. When we write a prayer letter, we are going to write the more positive things. We're going to write the things that we believe. But if we're not careful, we will end up lying, and then somebody comes to visit. I hadn't been in Peru very long when we were seeing a bunch of people make professions of faith, but nobody was going to church. And so I was writing in my prayer letter, X amount of people made professions of faith. And then I realized if anybody came to visit me, they'd say, where are all those people? So I just stopped putting that in my prayer letter, and I started putting in my prayer letter how many people were attending the services, how many people were getting baptized. And so that way I could know that I could back up what I was saying.
We have a way of, saying it's a little white lie or it's small or, but it doesn't really matter what it is. First of all, the name of Christ is the one that suffers when we are dishonest, when we lack integrity, when we don't tell the truth or whatever it may be. But let me also say to those that are dads like myself, to those that are parents, really, even if you're not a parent, you have other people, whether younger siblings, whether friends, people are always watching you. And the little bitty things that we do as parents in our lives, the little lies that our children know about, they're going to take it a whole step further. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to reprimand them and say, how dare you do that? And they're looking, whether they want to be bold enough to say it or not, but they're looking thinking, really? That's a hypocritical thing. I mean, you've been prostituting yourself, going around raising this money, lying to people, and now you want to tell me this little white lie that I don't get any money for? This little lie is really, doing wrong? No way. It's hypocrisy, and we have to be careful as parents, and especially as men of God.
I remember one time when I was already pastoring. My dad, who is now in heaven, had sold a cousin a copying machine. The photocopiers were just brand new, and they were very high ticket items. And he told my cousin, he said, "You take it. I've got a whole truckload of paper. I've got all this ink. You take it, you use it, and you don't pay me unless you like it." Well, my cousin took it, used up all the paper, used up all the ink, ruined the drum in the machine, and then drove back over and told my dad he didn't like it about a year later. And my dad gave him his money back. And I said, "What in the world are you doing? He is a thief. He lied to you. He took advantage of you. You know he's not doing right." And my dad quoted Psalm 15 and said, "He that swears to his own hurt and changes not." He said, "I made the mistake. I shouldn't have given my word. I made the mistake. I should not have given my word." So I would like to say to each of you, missionaries, don't fill out that questionnaire unless you're going to tell the truth. Don't lie to that pastor. All you have to do is tell the truth. All you have to do is be who you say you are, and that'll be fine. But don't lie about it. Don't practice to deceive. How can you build a ministry? The ministry is not about the money, it's about the character.
Amen.
It's not about how much money you have. It's about, do you know Jesus, and are you walking with Jesus? A pastor ought to be able to say, "I know he is what he says he is, because his yea is yea and his nay is nay." When that man says yes, he means yes. When that man says no, he means no. And so I'd like to read you just a little bit of this chapter, a little bit more of it. I already read to you, "He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness," just lost my place in my Bible, "and worketh righteousness in his heart, worketh righteousness, speaketh the truth in his heart. He that backbiteth not with his tongue, nor doeth evil to his neighbor, nor takes up a reproach against his neighbor." So we ought not be gossiping about each other. "In whose eyes a vile person is condemned, looked down on. He that honoreth them, he honors them that fear the Lord. He that swears to his own hurt and changes not. He that puts not out his money to usury, nor taketh reward against innocent. He that doeth these things shall never be moved." And I just would like to challenge you with the idea of be who you say you are. Don't lie in your prayer letter. Don't lie on your quarterly reports to your mission agency. Don't lie to pastors. Don't lie to your wife. Don't lie to other people. Be transparent. Be honest. Be vulnerable. Be the person that God made you to be.
Now, let's be clear. We know that everybody stands in different areas of, all kinds of subjects, spectrums all around the, all around the table. But let us be clear. Whatever you do believe, then be that person. You don't have to lie about it. Here's what Job said. You remember the man who was just plagued by all kinds of problems, lost his children, lost his house, lost everything that he had. And when it comes to Job chapter 27, he says, "Till I die, I will not remove mine integrity from me." I mean, what a man that everything goes against him. He loses all kinds of support, not just $100 a month support. He loses everything. But he said, "You know what? It's fine. I'll take it all the way to my grave. I'm going to be a man of integrity." And then we flip over to Proverbs, probably my favorite book of the Bible, Proverbs chapter 19. It says, "Better is the poor that walketh in his integrity than he that is perverse in his lips and is a fool." So it's better to be poor, yet have integrity, than to be rich and not have the integrity.
Can we be honest? The Lord knows what you're saying. And you may deceive a pastor. You may deceive a church. You may deceive a mission agency. You may deceive your spouse, but you can't deceive the Lord. And you are the man of God. And you stand or fall before Him. And His hand on your ministry and His blessing on your ministry is not determined by pragmatism. It is much more determined by character and who you are. So I want to challenge you to live up to who you are. He hears what you say. He knows what's genuine and real. And what is so sad is if your wife did to you what you do to pastors, you would blow your stack. If your children lied to you, deceived you the way you deceive pastors, but they're learning how to do that. If the nationals that once you get to the field begin to act in the same way you're acting, you're going to have major issues with those nationals. And then you're going to complain and say, "I don't know why. They're dishonest. These people can't tell the truth. These people don't mean what they say." And I hear all sorts of stuff being stated by missionaries when they get to the field, when the facts are that missionary has in many ways lived and acted in the exact same manner. So I'm challenging you to stand up and say, "I will be who I claim to be."
True integrity is a matter of the heart. There's a whole lot of things that we think are very, very important, utmost importance when we talk about mission. So someone needs to learn the language, someone needs to raise their support, someone needs to start church, someone needs to train those men. There's all kinds of things that are very essential. But listen to this, if we don't have integrity, everything else just caves to the side. You and I must be men of integrity. Integrity is a matter of the heart, and we have to remember, everybody likes to use the 1 Samuel when God doesn't look on the stature, God doesn't look on the outward appearance, God looks on the heart. But if we're going to really use that, and God does look at the heart, then character, integrity, honestly, that is a matter of the heart. And God is looking at your heart. Much more than your talents, much more than your money, much more than your contacts and everything else. God cares about who you really are when nobody else is around, and who you are, more than what you can offer him, per se.
Not long ago, a pastor's kid asked one of my children, he said, "Is your dad who he says he is? Is your dad the same guy in the pulpit that he is at home?" And can you consider that maybe your children are listening to you or watching you or hear you discussing with another missionary? Do you ever think that you're sitting in orientation at your mission agency and they're saying you agree to these rules and your children know you don't keep those, that you know what the rules are, you know what's expected of you, but you're not doing it, and then you're going to wonder why they would react in the same way to what you ask? Have you ever considered that you are setting a pattern for your children to live after? So I love you, and I know it's been a very intense, hard, and in-your-face discussion today.
Well,
I tell you, this is important.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I just want you to realize you must make a decision to be who you say you are. You are the man sent from God, the man of character. You are like the Apostle Paul. You are like the Samuel. You are the man of God.
Well, our goal throughout these podcasts, man, we want to encourage you. We want to strengthen you. We want to give you the tools that you need. But it might appear today that we're just out slinging, the hammer every which way. Let us just say this. We do love you in the Lord. You're out there serving God. Praise God for it. Continue on. But let us do say, much more than all the outward talents that you have and the things that you can offer, it is important who you really are. So be a man of integrity. Be the person that you should be and that you claim to be for your relationship with God, for your relationship with others, for your children, for yourself. Be the person that God really wants you to be.
Now, if you're listening, I want to say thank you for listening and being patient. I would like to invite you. We have invited you to the Our Generation Pastors Conference. You heard about that. But on the very next Tuesday, on February the 12th, we will have our World Evangelism Fellowship, which is a pastors, preachers, missionary fellowship meeting. We invite you to come and be a part of it. We had a wonderful time last month. I think we've had 2 so far, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And we're about to have our 3rd meeting, and this will be happening on a regular basis. And who are our preachers this time? Do you happen to have that in front of you?
I do. Yes, sir. I'm going to look it up right
he's
now.
pulling that up right now. I want to invite you. It'll start at 9 a.m. The sessions will be over at 12. There'll be 3 main preachers, and then there'll be some called from the floor. And then at 12, we'll have lunch. It's all free. We do take up an offering to cover that, and we'd like to invite you to come and be a part of what's going on there. The very next one will be on March the 5th. And so every month we'll be doing these classes and these fellowship meetings, different preachers preaching every time.
So in February, as Pastor mentioned, we'll have Jason Rischel to Burkina Faso. We'll have Sam Quinn heading out to United Kingdom, and we'll have Mark Tolson to China. So we'll have 2 veterans and 1 that's getting ready to leave for the field.
We are excited about the fact that, in fact, is right now, Ben Johnson is just about ready to leave. He's down to days before Ben Johnson returns to China. He'll be back in Shanghai, China. We also have Brady Van Winkle, who within just days will be leaving to go to Turkey. Do you know if any others are leaving immediately?
No, sir. Those 2 are at the end of this month, the 29th and the 30th.
We are excited also that God has allowed us to see new people called out. You'll be hearing about new people being accepted as missionaries, and we're just excited about what God's doing. We love you guys. We're praying for you. And also, there are books coming out. We are really working hard at getting the Our Generation publications out in front of you. And so I would invite you, if you haven't given us your email to do that, there is a new book put out by the missionaries to China. What's it called?
1,000 Lives.
1,000 Lives. It's the idea of 1,000 Lives for China. Great book. It's already coming out in audio. You can get it on Kindle, or you can get it in print. We also have this week we are promoting, when I'm recording this, we're promoting Thriving, How's that? The
Yes,
title?
sir. Thriving in Life.
That's Jeff Bush's book, and we're also still promoting a book Jeff and I wrote together called Victory Over Porn, and we'd invite you just to go to Our Generation Publications and buy any one of those books. Well, thank you for listening. Do you have any further things there?
No, sir.
Well, we are very glad to have the opportunity to talk to you and look forward to talking with you again next week. Please feel free to email us, to put comments here. We want to talk to you. Thank you, and God bless you.
You've been listening to Leadership with Vision by Austin Gardner. Visit worldevangelism.net to discover more podcasts and useful articles.